Hey, well, welcome back to the ARC Path.
My name is Bernard,
And I'm Casey.
and we are live in San Dimas today. So, again, if you're listening to us, well, we're not really live, but we were live in San Dimas.
We are live in San Dimas. And not that we don't always do our podcast in San Dimas, but today's special, isn't it?
It is a special day. Well, I mean, for us, if you've known us, every day is special. We celebrate every day, in such a unique way because every day is unique and different. But today, we're gonna do something else. We're not only gonna celebrate life and ourselves and each other. We're gonna hold like a grand ball celebration for our grand city of San Dimas, California.
And now, Bernard, you've lived in San Dimas longer than I have.
Okay.
I mean, you have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
speaking facts.
Yep.
And yet, I don't know more people in San Dimas than you because if I count all your family members
You
who live
lose.
here, I lose. But there is no doubt that there is I might just call it a favor or um, a gifting, a knack for me to know a lot of people in the city.
Yes.
And yet um, you run business here in the city. You live in the city.
Yep.
You have worked around the world, but in the last couple of years, you've been paying a lot of attention to the city. What invite us to what you see in the city and where that movement is coming from.
Well, again, for me, the city was just a place. And it's like as I reshifted my focus from my international travels to local, I started to realize it's just the nuances of the city, the people, the community that's here, the vast uniqueness of the individuals here. Has been such an eye opener. I mean, I've traveled, I've seen people all around the world, and to come back and go, wow, look at all these amazing people around me. I didn't know.
You just didn't know, and I highlight that because I want to tie back into what Bernard said. If you don't live in the city of San Dimas, this is probably more applicable to you than if you're not,
Yeah,
because the invitation is to go. We're going to talk about San Dimas as our hometown,
yeah,
and so you'll learn about it. But I want to invite a listener who has never looked at their city, their community in that way,
yeah.
to look at it as a place of connection. Do you know your neighbors? And that's not just the people that live next door to you,
Correct.
especially if you've been there for some time. But do you know the people that make up your community? And there's a lot of people that just commute in and out of a city. There's a lot of people that go, look, I don't want anybody to know where I live. And we're approaching it differently today. We are inviting you into the lens of community on the ARC path.
Yes.
And so, Bernard, what makes community so important on the ARC path?
Um, it's well, first, I mean, community is one of the pillars of the opera. And what does that really mean? It means that life does not work without community. I think you might have heard me say this before. I cried when I learned that. I mean, literally, I cried. I was like, "Am I? Does the fullness of my life depend on the community that's around me?" And that means I am not dependent, but in order for me to fully celebrate this life that I have, I live in community. I have to acknowledge this community, and boy, did I need healing. And I'm not talking about the city of San Dimas. I'm talking about all of my communities that I live, which is quite a bit. I need healing in all of my communities, and that is a fundamental pillar of my life, and it's one of the pillars of the ARC path.
And one of the things that we're going to unpack today is the fact that it's easier to live in isolation than it is to live in community. We just want to set that out in front of us, that it is easier to cut off from people you don't like. It is easier to simply stay in your own little your own little place and go, look, I like you, I like you, I like you. I don't like all of you, so I'm going to pretend like you don't exist.
And when he says isolation, we're not talking about going up to Big Bear in a small cabin and just sitting in isolation. No, we're talking about living in the middle of the city, being surrounded by 500,000 people within a 5 to 10 mile radius, and living in isolation. And you can be in a crowd of 1,000, and you're still living in isolation. And it's emotional, mental, physical, and based on your faith, spiritual.
And so, what are we talking about today but community and the opportunity for you to know that you have a unique connection to community.
Yes.
And so as we dedicate this to San Dimas, a place that has welcomed us,
Yeah.
San Dimas has welcomed Bernard, you as an individual. San
Yes.
Dimas has welcomed you
Yes.
as a business, as you bring your business local. San Dimas has created opportunity for your family to flourish
Yes.
and to be connected. San Dimas has said, Casey, we welcome you. We welcome your networking. We welcome your contribution. We welcome what it is that you bring. And so we are here to welcome the rest of San Dimas. Stand up, be counted, recognize that you do more when you don't do it alone. You
Mm-hmm.
do more good, is really what I'm talking about. Because you begin to recognize that there's a uniqueness to each one of us. But that uniqueness is what actually makes the fibers of community strong.
Right. I love that. And but it's hard. I don't know. People tell Casey all the time. It's not it's not easy to be you or like you, and so it's just hard. And a lot of time when I'm around and I hear people say that, what you hear them say is it's too hard, therefore, and they make these conclusions and they draw these lines in the sand, and without the right tools, it is hard. And really, that's what really the arc path is about. Is and what are the right tools? Is well, the pillars of arc itself. The number one pillar to attaining community that is good and that does good is communication.
Hmm.
And so, but today is not about communication, but it is one of the pillars that Casey continues to refine in his life every day. It's funny. It's people look at you. You're a coach. You're so well read and studied. And wait, you're still working on your communication? I thought that's done with.
Every day, every day, and realizing that what I'm actually working on is my own ability to communicate what's in my heart,
Yes.
and that can be complicated. And yet, without community, how can I have the opportunity to know what somebody else is hearing me say? So as I come into community and I try to articulate something, and I ask the question, hey, what are you hearing? I'm building community out of trust, out of connection, out of relationship at that point, and that's really an opportunity to grow into something new. One of the tenets I believe about community is celebration. We're going to go to the end because that's what we do on the arc path. We go to the end, and when we learn to celebrate others in their diversity, as we learn to celebrate the things rather than get frustrated by the things. So, Bernard, you're in the middle of putting a sign in front of your business, and man, can that be frustrating.
Yes.
And you've heard this story over and over again. Oh, beware. The city's going to get in the way. Oh, watch out. It's going to be difficult. They're going to fight you. They're going to do this. And we recognize that that might be a perspective. But let's go after it from a different point of view. What an amazing thing that your city cares about your business, that your city is going to choose to help ensure that not only your business shines, but that every other business on the street is going to complement one another so that it's not a competition between business one and business two and business three, but that in uniformity, we're going to represent an industrial park together. What an amazing opportunity that the city says, let me help you. Submit a plan to me. Let's talk about it. Let's walk through this. You're not on your own. I could keep going on the list,
Yes.
but it is a matter of perspective. Are you celebrating the city? Are you celebrating what is opportune in this place, or are you getting stuck on the problem? Anytime we get stuck on what's wrong, where our energy flow, where our focus goes, energy will flow, and this is one of the things that kills community.
Well, I'm gonna because I like what you did, and but I just want to put something in perspective. That was one voice.
Yes.
What you heard is one of many voices in terms of how to approach the situation, and we bring it. We come back to community. How does community work? There are many voices, and many times is when we hear a voice that we don't like, we either check out, we go to war, and or to hide or isolation, or we just full on attack. And the concept is this is a voice and there is another voice, and
Mm-hmm.
to be in community, you're going to listen to a lot of voices. You're going to listen to a lot of perspectives, and the choices you have to process it. And of course, we're not telling you how to react to every voice. That is the arc path. We're going to give you the tools of what happens when you hear the different voices. And really, that is the core celebration of the arc path. Is it begins with acknowledgement, going, wait a minute. Um, I like and agree with this voice. I like but disagree with this voice. I don't like, and so you have all these options. But the acknowledgement is just to know, well, what's your perspective, what's your come from, is to listen and acknowledge. Hey, wait a minute, this is what I heard. Now, how does it make me feel? And
Hmm.
and and that's the beginning part of being on the arc path in community.
And what a joy to recognize that you don't have to get it right every time. You
Yeah.
don't have to be perfect. You don't
Yes.
have to come in and go, okay, I've got to present a certain perspective that makes me feel connected or accepted.
Yes.
I just get to be me,
Yes.
and the city gets to be them, and every single one of us has a different voice, and
Mm.
it's essential in community that your voice is heard. We've done conversations around voting and recognizing that every time you vote, it's the opportunity to project your voice. And there's too many people that have given up. My voice doesn't matter.
It's funny. It's as even as you said that, what I saw is the visual of. So we have these. When you vote, what happens? You get a sticker, you put it on you. Hey, I voted, and people can see you voted. And what I saw is the problem with the sticker. It becomes a label. So things that you go around voting for and acknowledging become labels. We put labels on each other, we put labels on ourselves, and we put labels on our community. And as Casey was demonstrating, working with the city can be a label in itself.
Hmm.
But again, I think being on the arc path, healing is removing those labels. And it begins by removing the labels that you've placed on you, that others have placed on you, but also is taking the labels off of other people. You know what? Other institutions and all that. Let's start healing by removing the labels that we've placed on each other, so we can have an open mind to listen and to heal. We need healing, and I think a lot of those labels are toxic. Even if you agree with them, they're toxic. I just remove them and see what
Hmm.
happens.
I love that Bernard is giving us an inductive lens to see the arc path. We acknowledge the city we're in, the people that are around us, the unique voices, and then we move into healing. So we acknowledge and then we heal. And what are we healing? We're healing ourselves from our own blind spots. We're healing ourselves from the judgment, the blame, the excuses. Who are the people in your city that are always negative? Okay, pull the label off.
Yes.
How do you love them?
Yes.
Who are the people that are the squeaky wheel that are just never happy? Okay, pull the label off. Who are you? And what makes you better? Nothing. Simply the opportunity to go, I'm one of the community members
Yes.
and I'm here to embrace my community. But what if I don't like them? Now we have an opportunity to listen.
Yes.
What don't I like?
Mm.
Where are they coming from? What is their story? Why do they look at things the way they look at things? And how can we turn that into an asset and a strength rather than this liability and obstacle? Because on the arc path, we recognize that the obstacle is the way. We recognize that anything can be converted into an opportunity rather than an obstacle. So we go, okay, now we're going to build community, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to listen to heal.
Mm.
It's beautiful.
I love that. I want to stay in that moment actually, because I believe it. I do believe that that's real. I do believe that when we take the labels off, we get settled.
Hmm.
And when we get settled, our ears open up and we start to listen. We don't have to agree, but again, to be in community is to listen, and the goal is it's not to win. I spent most of my life with having a goal in every conversation. I've been married 29 years. Ask my wife. My goal in every conversation was to win. And I think I won most of them. But who's counting, right? I am.
Remember, this is for San Dimas.
Sorry. We'll come back to that. But again, what's the goal, guys? It's to love, it's to be in
Hmm.
relationship, to be in community, and to better our lives and that of our community. And when we listen, I think that's where we get to kind of move on to that restoration, where we get to vote
Hmm.
with our voices, with our affection, with our business, with our finances, guys. Showing up in different businesses all the time. We always eat at this restaurant on that day at that time. Can we change that? I mean, it's not that you.
How dare you?
I mean, it's just not just to imagine, like, as I started looking at around, going, I haven't eaten in every restaurant. I've not eaten in every restaurant in San Dimas, and I was sad. I mean, that was just last week, that realization going, why not? I don't know. You go where you're comfortable. Well, wait a minute. Well, imagine the people, imagine the experiences that are available right here in my own city. But I've traveled the world, but I haven't experienced the fullness of my city, and I'm excited. I don't have to travel very far
No.
to experience newness and restoration in my eyes.
And one of the beautiful things about San Dimas is the number of what I might call mom and pop shops.
Mm,
The city is filled with individuals with an entrepreneurial desire to make a life, to build it up. And what better way to know your city than to visit the places that are doing local commerce and showing up to say, "This is my gift. This is my contribution. Eat my food. Try on my wear." Hey, put on a piece of jewelry if you haven't been to the Elbow Jewelry Design Center. That's just the plug for Bernard's business that he and I are intimately a part of, to say, hey, we love showcasing what we get to do, and we do it well, and so
yeah,
does everybody
yeah,
else.
they do. They
Um,
do.
and so as we pull off these labels, as we pull off these expectations, and we say, okay, let's take a look around. How do we really celebrate city? We get involved. We show up. We contribute. We recognize that there is nobody here like me, so I'm going to show up and be me. And what a joy it is that we have a city that says, hey, come on out. We're having a party. Hey,
Yes.
come on out. We're going to get together. Let's build these relationships and build this opportunity. And what a joy that we have this place to do that.
So again, Casey took us to the end. He took us to the K in ARC. The K is the kingdom place. What you just heard is what happens when you invest in your community, and the call to invest in your community. Most people, when we look at ARC and they go, well, I understand the acknowledgement, I understand the healing, I understand the restoration. Why do you need kingdom? Kingdom, it's this place, that it's this concept that I can be in community with people that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm gonna love on them. I'm gonna love who they are, and we're gonna be in community together.
Hmm.
But we're gonna listen to each other. We're gonna honor each other. We're gonna respect each other. But we're different, and it's just, but there's a lot of us, guys, and this is a fantastic city to be in, and I just loved that perspective of how you celebrate community. But I think the call is investment, so I'm going to bring it back to financial,
Okay.
because it's not free.
No.
It's not, I mean, again, to be in community, it's got to cost you something.
Yeah,
Give me the
my
cost.
chamber dues. Yep, got to pay my chamber dues. Showing up at the city event, I got to be at the wine walk. I want to go to the birthday barbecue. I got
Give
to
me
pay my dues.
give me the cost, Casey.
Here's what the cost is vulnerability. I
Mm.
mean, that's not what you thought was going to come out as the
I said
next word.
financial. I'm going to give
I
you all the
know.
money. It's easier.
Just yeah,
It's easier.
the concept to bring it back to community. African proverb, and ancient is the sun. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm.
And what's the cost? Sometimes going slow.
Oh,
What's the cost? Going together, building relationships. Now, I mean, I've been showing up in the city, personally. It's not that long. Some people go, "Wow, that's not very long." I mean, I've been showing up. We moved into the city 17 years ago, and we jumped in with both feet. And so it's I haven't been here long enough to not have people still ask me what's my end game. They have this suspicion about me. You're up to something. Most people in the city know that I have a faith anchor in my heart, in my life, that I proclaim that there's a reason to believe. Oh, that I move with faith, hope, and love, and then they associate that. But people can't find my church. Casey, what church are you the senior pastor of? I'm not. Well, then why is your faith so important to you? As if For that you have to be a church leader. And I go, there's a church that has no walls? Yeah, I'm in charge of that one.
So the city is your church.
The city's my church.
Amen.
The school district's my youth group.
Amen.
And they go, well, you can't do that. And then they go down, that's not allowed. And I go, oh, you mean I broke the rules?
I mean, Casey served, soccer communities, boards. I mean, serving the community, planting trees, removing trees. I'm not going to talk about the list, but it's just, it's invest. When I say, what's the cost of investment?
Yeah.
I look at his life and I go, you know what? I didn't invest in my city. I really didn't. I mean, the financial investment. I paid my taxes. I shopped whenever I don't even think I shopped a whole lot in the city. If you ask but at the end of the
We've been
day,
tracking your revenue.
I know. Well, when you
ne-
go to Vaughn's, you put your phone number so they
Yeah,
can track you.
we've been tracking.
But it really, at the end of the day, it's Casey has invested with the most expensive commodity that he owns, his time. I mean, it's wow. What do you mean? I mean, it's just he invests his time to love on his city, and that's suspicious because it's not normal.
No?
It's not normal. We don't look at that and go, oh, we're all supposed to do that, guys. We're all supposed to do that. I'm not pointing the finger. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. It was like, the city's here to serve me, but again, it begins with what? We have to come out and we have to serve the city. We have to be present. We have to show our faces. And I'm still learning. I'm like a third grader in that. Casey's has got a few years ahead of me on it.
And you're still learning, but I'm 480th in line to the people in front of me that are doing more than I am. And that's what I love about this city. There is no competition. There's gift, there's talent, there's investment. People love to love this city. And if you don't love your city, go find people that are involved, that are serving. And these aren't just the retired folks. And that's really why I became somebody in the chamber or in the city that they were confused at. Well, how do you have time to do this? You've got 3 young kids. Yeah. Have you looked at the people that are running for school board? They got young kids. Have you looked at the people that show up on the chamber board? They've got young kids. Have you looked at our city is filled with people that don't have time, but have passion.
Yes.
Welcome to the AHRK path, where your passion and your purpose, they are unleashed, where you get to contribute to the thing you care most about. And if you don't know what you care about, that's why you walk along the AHRK path and you go, well, do I want to be a part of the Rotary? Do I want to be a part of the Chamber? Do I want to be a part of the Education Foundation? Do I want to be a part of the Historical Society? Maybe I got to get involved in another group. There are so many groups.
So true. So true. But look, guys, the kingdom, it's right here. It's alive in San Dimas. And it lives here. That's the place where we come together in community to be with each other, loving and listening, not necessarily agreeing, but and it's not this whole concept of tolerating. No, love does not tolerate. It's being present and acknowledging. Look, there are differences among us, but we have to serve our community. And showing up and doing the work is all of our responsibility. So that's an invitation. Why don't you guys show up and show us? Reach out to Casey and I on the AHRK path. What are you celebrating? And we'll drop this podcast in different community groups. Drop it into your own community and just change the label. This is not just our city of San Dimas. This is every city all around the world, guys. You live in a community. If you're watching this, just take the label. You can send us $20 and we'll redo this podcast naming your city as this city. I'm just joking. We won't do that. But
I was just going to highlight your sarcasm and then it came fleshing out. What I was going to premise that with is, hey, I'm going to give you a closing thought. And I want Bernard, why is San Dimas the perfect city? And can you wait, we just did that for the entire podcast.
Correct.
But here's why I want to highlight, it's not San Dimas is not a perfect city, but that's what makes it beautiful. If something is perfect, it has no room to grow. It has no room to improve. And what makes us beautiful as humans is the fact that we are not static. We are not stuck. We have an
Yes.
opportunity to grow, to learn, to improve, and to redo over and over again. And San Dimas is known for that.
Yes.
We are not stuck in the past. And I remember when we got rid of the wooden sidewalks. That's how I've been around long enough for that, and it was offensive to so many people. I was like, you know what? We're going to step into a new tomorrow.
Yes.
We're going to reach forward and become something better. Thank you, San Dimas, for being a city that's not perfect. You know what? If you're perfect, well, then you're done.
Yeah. I love that.
But
Well,
then if you're perfect, you're in isolation because
that's
somebody's going to screw you up.
no, no. Well, guys, it's been fun. As you guys know, we can do this all day. And what that means is we can love on you guys all day, because we're loving on our city, and we bless the city, we celebrate the city, and we want to show up, and we're going to continue to show up, and we're inviting you guys to show up in our lives. And on the arc path, in the workshops, this is where you refine this language.
Mhm.
And what I don't, I tell people to come and learn, but it's not learning, guys. It's refining. It's because you already know that you need to heal. You already know that you need restoration in every part of your life, and so do we. And that's the whole beauty of it. When we show up to the workshops, we are all learning how to refine our lives so we become better and show up as the best version of ourselves.
So, welcome to the Arc Path. Welcome to San Dimas. Come visit if you're not living local. We'll be happy to host you here. So, God bless you. Have a great day. We look forward to hearing more about your city and redoing this podcast with you in mind.
Scary thought.